I'm going to go out on a limb here and say for many people there are probably few things in the world that they dislike more than fruit flies. And right now they are everywhere.
Yeah, but for some scientists, they're not setting up traps to get rid of the pin-sized pest, but rather taking a long, hard look at them. As a matter of fact, they say fruit flies may be the key to unlocking the mystery behind certain health conditions that affect so many. You probably remember when we told you how some scientists claimed these creatures could be the breakthrough they've been looking for when it comes to concussions. One university professor of genetics says about 75% of the genes in fruit flies are conserved in humans, and that means if you find the gene that's impacted during a concussion of the fruit fly, you can find a similar gene in humans. The science could soon be so precise it may help figure out who's most prone to the effects of a brain injury before it even happens.
Now as we learn this, we can personalize the therapy, find the right therapy for the right individual.
The scientists working on this connection hope it provides some sort of biomarkers for a traumatic brain injury. They say they just hope more athletes will be able to prevent concussions with the help of their research. So it's absolutely vital to try to find these answers because, as Dr. Carrie Forrestal told us just yesterday, as a matter of fact, concussions can have a long-lasting impact for weeks, even months.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about a disorder that impacts a person for life. Autism, 1 in 68 people to be exact. And once again, scientists are turning to the fruit fly for some insight. And what they're learning is that something so small may very well answer some big questions.
Tiny pests are creating new buzz when it comes to cracking the code on the country's fastest growing developmental disability.
The molecular pathways that guide how our brains develop are similar in a fruit fly and a human.
Dr. Kimberly Mulligan is leading research examining how genes and environmental toxins harm brain development in fruit flies.
If we can create a system that would allow us to screen those chemicals more quickly, that would be really helpful because it would actually provide potential preventative measures.
To evaluate brain abnormalities after exposure, scientists will focus on two things: dissection of the insect's brain and mating behaviors.
If their brain has developed normally, it happens every time. Eventually the male will tap the female on the leg. He actually moves his wing out to a 90-degree angle and vibrates it, which is called singing. So what happens if you perturb brain development? Those steps are altered.
According to the CDC, 1 in 68 children born in the U.S. is diagnosed with autism. When Harjinder Sidhu heard the troubling statistics, the biomedical sciences major wanted to be part of the solution.
Just to see how hard their life is compared to ours and how much we take for granted it's heartbreaking, you know, and I wanted to do something that I can help.
And while these subjects may be small, they carry hope of groundbreaking results.
If we establish this model, not only can we screen through different chemicals, we can screen through different genes that are implicated in autism.
So now the thing about the fruit fly, Dr. Mulligan says their lifespan is short, which means scientists are able to get results faster.
And that's always a good thing. Well, that's not the only breakthrough when it comes to autism. The longest running kids show in TV history has a new Muppet on the block.
Elmo's daddy told Elmo that Julia has autism, he says, so she does things a little differently.
That she he's referring to is Julia, a Muppet featured in Sesame Street's new online story. Julia has autism. She's part of the We're Amazing campaign.
Amazing, we all are amazing, each in our own way.
The goal of the campaign is to encourage others to see the amazing in all children. Studies show more than 6 out of 10 children with autism have been bullied at some point. The idea behind Julie is that familiarity breeds compassion, and compassion helps reduce that number.
Well, one number we wouldn't mind increasing is the amount of oysters in the Chesapeake Bay. Up next, we learn about the astounding impact they have. We'll also get some fascinating facts about the shellfish, including what's behind a $4 oyster.
But first, we need a fact about Sean's location because we're on the search for Striker. Sean, what is our first clue?
You know, guys, I love playing Search for Striker. I learned so many things about the towns I visit. For instance, in 1801, the first major building was built in this town on an acre of land purchased for only 66 cents. Well, in case that interesting fact didn't help you, coming up, I got 2 more that hopefully will.
But first, we just learned about autism in children. Dr. Oz has more on how a young brain develops.
Hi, I'm Dr. Oz. Did you know that 90% of a child's brain develops in their first 5 years? That means parents play an essential role in brain development. So from day one, I want you to start talking, reading, and singing to your children. These simple acts stimulate their brains so they grow stronger, develop faster, and ultimately thrive.